Good evening. We are live in our studios on Caraba Avenue. You're watching QTV Nightly News and I'm Jacqueline Coley. Thank you for joining us. Here are the main news headlines. In a proud moment for higher education, President Barrow presided over the University of the Gambia's 17th convocation on Saturday at the Faraba Banta campus. In the much-anticipated Banjul Have Thy Word by-election, the Independent Electoral Commission has declared Bartholomew Bolo Koli, the NPP candidate, as the winner with 601 votes. At a press conference on Saturday, the Gambia Car Dealership Association appealed to the government to reconsider its decision to reclaim land previously allocated to car dealers. During World Malaria Day commemorations, Bala Jiba, the Assistant Program Officer at the Ministry of Health, announced that confirmed malaria cases in the Gambia have dropped by more than 50% in 2024. In this week's court roundup, we take a look at key rulings, including the acquittal of 4 Portuguese nationals in a high-profile cocaine trafficking case and the sentencing of a convicted phone thief. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. Now, in a proud milestone for higher education in the Gambia, the University of the Gambia today held its 17th convocation presided over by President Barrow. The ceremony celebrated the achievements of more than 1,000 graduates. More in this report.
At the UTG campus in Faraba, excitement fills the air as the University of the Gambia confers various degrees on its newest batch of 1,228 graduates, having been found worthy in both learning and character. The 17th convocation marks yet another milestone in the university's 25-year journey of shaping minds and molding futures for national development. Presiding over the ceremony as Chancellor, President Barrow urged the graduates to use their knowledge to drive positive change in the Gambia. He reaffirmed his government's commitment to expanding opportunities in higher education, pledging more investments in the UTG.
Do not carry your certificates into the world of work merely as moral boosters. Rather, with them, proudly discharge your much expected responsibility of innovating, creating, and leading. The challenges of unemployment and migration are truly daunting, but your potential is limitless and able to transform any challenge into an opening for success and progress.
Dr. Mahmoud Mustafa Fane, Chairperson of the UTG Governing Council, and Vice Chancellor Professor Herbert Robinson, respectively, highlighted the university's resilience, noting major achievements despite challenges such as limited resources. They urged the government to take responsibility for paying the basic salaries of university staff.
25 years ago, the concept of national university in the Gambia was just a dream rooted in desire to provide accessible, relevant, and high-quality tertiary education to the citizens of our beloved country.
So the total number of students to be awarded various degrees at today's ceremony is 1,228, 699 males, 529 females. Chancellor, this year's convocation ceremony signifies another significant milestone for the University of Gambia.
For the MCLA, the valedictorian from the School of Education emphasized the need for more investment in knowledge. Coming from an underprivileged background in Woolly Upper River region, Mr. Silla expressed gratitude to his parents, sponsors, lecturers, and classmates for their support throughout the journey.
Like some of the graduates today, standing here is an underprivileged son who has honored the promises and commitments of his parents to become the first ever university graduate, born and raised in a tiny rustic village situated in the northeast of Woolly West District.
For graduates, including Mamna Buka, Kadi Seidi, and Musukuta Fall of School of Journalism and Digital Media, and Sang Paul Mendy of the School of Public Administration, who were joined by their families and friends, the day is a culmination of years of sacrifice and determination.
And I give the credit back to my lecturers at the University of the Gambia. They truly gave me their wisdom to the best of their ability and taught me how to apply it in a beneficial way to the people out there. And back to my friends, my family, and my parents, whose emotional support got me through really, really tough times. as well as the Q Group Foundation. I must thank them because their financial support for my education was truly phenomenal.
It's a fulfilling moment for me, and I know I am super proud of myself, and my parents and my family are also super proud of me, and I am just so happy right now.
And I feel really honored graduating with a degree after 4 years of going to school and then having to complete a thesis for 3 months. It's something that's really extraordinary, and alhamdulillah, we've been through it.
It's really a joy for me to be awarded this degree in business and public administration.
As these graduates bid farewell to the UTG lecture halls, a lot more is expected from them to effectively contribute to nation building as architects of the country's future. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliu Sise.
Congratulations to the graduates, especially our very own Mam Nabuka. Now, in the much anticipated Banjul Half-Day Ward by-election, the Independent Electoral Commission has declared Bartholomew Bolokoli, the candidate for the National People's Party (NPP), as the winner. Mr. Koli secured 601 votes, while the candidate for the People's Progressive Party, Salif Jallow, pulled 317 in a two-horse race. The by-elections was called after the election results was called after the former councillor for the ward went missing from office. In this excerpt, we hear the official declaration of the results, followed by a reaction from Mr. Koli on his victory.
I, Joseph Koli, Vice Chairman of the Independent Electoral Commission, hereby give notice that the total number of votes given to each candidate in the council by-election of 26th April 2025 for Half-Day Ward is as follows. Bartholomew Koli, NPP, 601 votes. Salif Jallow, PPP, 317 votes. There was no invalid vote. The results were certified by Suleiman Juf, returning officer of the said by-election in the Banjul administrative area. These results were witnessed and endorsed by Usman Wada, agent for NPP, Mor Job, agent for NPP, Senabu Konsfal, agent for PPP, Amadou Jallow, agent for PPP. Having received the higher number of votes in Half-Day Ward by-election of 26 April 2025, Bartholomew Koli has been duly elected as councillor for Half-Day Ward in the Banjul City Council. Dated 26 April 2025. Signed, Joseph Koli, Vice Chairman.
Well, this victory means a lot to me. It means a very, it's a very, very big victory for me, because I've seen what the people of Half-Day have done for me today. They're pulling this number of crowd. It's something very huge. Yes, because they've shown the love, and then I think it's time to give it back. And then the way to give it back is do exactly what they want me to do when I'm in council. Yes, and I'm promising them that I will do whatsoever they want me to do, if it is within my...
Congratulations to Mr. Koli. Now, at a press conference on Saturday, the Gambia Car Dealership Association, CGDA, appealed to the government to reconsider its decision to reclaim land previously allocated to car dealers. The association argued that the move threatens the livelihoods of its members and undermines a sector that significantly contributes to national revenue. Usman Jata tells us more.
For many years, several car dealers have relied on roadside lots to earn a living. However, as the country's development accelerates through road expansions and infrastructure upgrades, the very spaces that once sustained the auto industry are now under threat. Saturday's press conference highlighted growing frustration within the industry. The GCDA stated that many of its members lack access to proper car parks and designated zones for their operations. Talibe Cham is the GCDA's public relations officer.
The Gambia Car Dealers Association is deeply concerned and disappointed by the recent decision of the government to reclaim a parcel of land that was rightfully allocated to our association. This action has not only undermined the trust and confidence our members, has also caused significant setback to our operations.
In December 2023, the government, through the former Minister of Lands, Babukar Boy, allocated land to the association as a designated zone for car dealers. This site was intended to serve as the foundation for the ambitious Car City project aimed at bolstering the vehicle and automotive industry in the Gambia. However, the association said its dreams were shattered after the government reclaimed the land. Here is Kutubombub, the president of the Gambia Car Dealership Association.
There are a lot of plans on the way because that thing was not supposed to be done. You allow me to spend my money in there. You gave me, we have the documents, we have everything. Like I said, we have a legal team who is looking into this. We don't want to go beyond this. We just need a place. We just want this problem to be solved amicably. We just want to sell our cars and go home. We don't want to be locked in a military barracks. That is painful. This is not a war zone. This is a civilized country, a democratic country. Let's have a dialogue and resolve this problem.
According to the GCDA, hundreds of Gambians are employed either directly or indirectly through the car dealership industry. However, with the recent uncertainty, many car dealers now find themselves in limbo, unsure of where they will be able to operate in the future. Modu S. Jallo and Samsu Gai, all car dealers shared their frustration.
These lands belong to Gambians. You cannot be in your business space for 12 good years or more. All of a sudden, you are evicted and the place is given to a non-Gambian. This trend should not be entertained. We are citizens of this country.
We are tired.
We are tired, and we are calling on the government and President Adama Barrow to help us with good location where we can run our businesses to feed our families.
The association has pledged to explore all available avenues to address the matter, including engaging in dialogue with the government to uphold principles of fairness, accountability, and the rule of law, with the aim of keeping the sector thriving for years to come. Osman Jata, reporting for QTV News.
The Assistant Program Officer at the Ministry of Health has announced that confirmed malaria cases in the Gambia have dropped by more than 50% in 2024. Balajiba was speaking during World Malaria Day commemorations on Friday, organized by the National Malaria Control Program under the Ministry of Health in collaboration with partners. Jultan Jai tells us more.
This year's World Malaria Day commemorations took place at Burfoot Lower Basic School, beginning with a march past to celebrate a significant milestone in the global fight against malaria. The event was held under the theme, Malaria Ends With Us, Reinvest, Reimagine, Reignite. The day served as an opportunity for the country to reflect on the progress made in combating the disease, while recognizing the challenges that remain. Assistant Program Officer at the Ministry of Health, Balajiba, disclosed that confirmed cases in the country have dropped by over 50% in 2024, a promising sign in the nation's campaign against the disease.
The number of confirmed malaria cases has dropped by more than 50% in 2024, from 249,437 in 2015 to 107,926 in 2024.
WHO Country Representative Dr. Nathan Bacheta reaffirmed the organization's commitment to supporting the Gambia in its efforts to eliminate malaria.
So, fellow Gambians, the journey to end malaria is not easy, but it is possible. We owe it to ourselves, to our children, and generations to come. Let's act with urgency, with purpose, and with unity.
Meanwhile, the event also witnessed the official launch of a new project aimed at accelerating malaria elimination efforts in the country. Valued at $2 million, the two-year initiative is funded by the China International Development Cooperation Agency and implemented in partnership with the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies.
We will reach out to the Gambian community carry out health education, provide the necessary medical supplies and equipment, and train local medical personnel to ensure that this project can be implemented efficiently.
The Sitka-funded project will ensure that the community where malaria most affect the people of the Gambia is engaged and active in the fight against malaria and the prevention of unnecessary morbidity and mortality.
This project, therefore, is expected to benefit approximately about 420,000 individuals, including 70,000 children, mainly from Upper River Region, Central River Region, and West Coast Region.
Minister of Health, Dr. Ahmad Lamin Samate, said the initiative aligns with the Gambia's National Malaria Strategic Plan 2025 and underscores the government's commitment to achieving universal health coverage.
Together, this project will bring reinvest in our children's future by providing seasonal malaria chemo prevention to 70,000 children under 5 years old in Combo North. We're ensuring that the most vulnerable in our society are protected during the peak of the malaria season.
The day's activities concluded with the handing over of materials by the Gambia Red Cross Society to the Village Development Committee, the local health center, Burfoot Lower Basic School, and Red Cross groups in the West Coast region. For QTV News, I am Julden Yai.
We are taking a short commercial break. When we return, highlights from a high-profile cocaine case and a detail of a 10-year prison sentence handed down to a convicted phone theft at the High Court. Stay with us.
Wow, saja. Sawa? Senang anjam.
Oryx, with you all the way.
Powered by Africa, Oryx Energies.
Thank you for staying, but if you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV News, and I'm Jacqueline Collie. Now, in this week's court roundup, we highlight key rulings, including the acquittal of 4 Portuguese nationals in a high-profile cocaine case and a 10-year prison sentence for a convicted phone thief. Usman Jata brings us the details.
The discharge at the High Court in Banjul, presided over by Justice Ibrahim Jete, followed months of legal proceedings. The 4 Portuguese women were acquitted due to insufficient evidence. Vilma Cabral Raul, Ana Patricia dos Santos, Simara Nadia Martins, and Miran Maria Mendez had been accused of conspiring to smuggle 3 suitcases containing blocks of cocaine from the Gambia to Barcelona via Banjul International Airport on June 29, 2024. In his ruling, Justice Jete emphasized that despite testimony from 17 prosecution witnesses, none could directly link the women to the drugs in question. Suspicion based on travel documents and behavior is no substitute for concrete evidence, he ruled, citing the lack of proof as a fatal flaw in the prosecution's case. The women were acquitted on all counts. Their Gambian co-accused, Sidi Cisse, Lamin Cisse, Yahya K. Jata, Modu Bojang, and Muhammad Jallo were not as fortunate. Justice Jete ruled that the evidence presented warrants a full defense and the trial will proceed. In another major judgment, Kemo Job was sentenced to 10 years in prison for robbing Lamin Toure of a Huawei smartphone in the Talindim buffer zone. The judge opted for leniency after hearing a plea for mitigation. Justice must be tempered with mercy, but it must also send a clear message. Criminality will not be tolerated, Justice Jete stated. Meanwhile, in a separate robbery trial, the court acquitted Alassane Tamba of robbing Modu Lamin Mansali of an iPhone XR and $4,000. The judge pointed to inconsistencies in the victim's testimony and an unreliable identification of the accused. The prosecution failed to prove its case beyond reasonable doubt. Justice Jete concluded. That's the latest from the courts. All stories were originally written by Nicholas Bass of The Voice newspaper and summarized by QTV. Osman Jata, reporting for QTV News.
Now, the Sweat Plus Gambia project under the Ministry of Health organized a 3-day training program for 40 journalists focused on media ethics, reporting on sexual and gender-based violence, and sensitive journalism practices, as Itubari reports.
The 3 days training brought together media personnel from different media houses to build their capacity in ethical reporting and strengthening their role in advancing human rights and gender equality. The participants were taken through intensive sessions, including journalistic code of conduct, gender stereotypes, child-sensitive reporting, SGBV laws and reporting ethics, and the importance of safeguarding survivors' dignity and privacy. Fabian Aina Gransanya, the GBV focal person of the Sweat Plus Gambia project, highlighted some of the objectives of the project.
So one of the project objectives is to strengthen adolescent girls and young women's empowerment, which is to improve the demographic transition and reduce gender inequality. And one of the priority areas is provision training of gender-based violence, sexual exploitation and abuse, and sexual harassment. On the subcomponent 1.5, which is to improve prevention and response to gender-based violence, sexual exploitation and abuse, and sexual harassment.
Journalists play a vital role in tackling sexual and gender-based violence by using their platforms to inform, educate, and influence society. Fabian Aina Gransanya again.
Journalism constitutes one of the few available avenues through which gender-based violence survivors can share their stories and voice their agony. Unfortunately, journalists can inadvertently become part of the problem when they fail to adhere to basic principles of ethical reporting.
Omar Mbake is the operations officer of the project coordination unit at the Ministry of Health.
When you empower young girls and adolescent young women, we're talking about here addressing issues that has to do with harmful traditional practices, such as early marriage, teenage pregnancy, FGM, just to name a few, sexual and gender-based violence. The SWEP project is here, if not to eradicate them, but at least to mitigate them to a level whereby they no longer continue to be a problem in our society.
Annette Kamara, the president of the Women Journalists Association of the Gambia, has this advice for the journalists.
Do not leave this hall with the knowledge and not apply it in the practical field. Do not leave with this knowledge you're going to gain for the next 72 hours without utilizing it in your newspapers, without utilizing it in your radio shows or on your news reports or whatever aspect of journalism you do, even in photojournalism.
Adama Makasuba is a board member of the Gambia Press Union.
As a union, we have long held the view that the media plays a crucial role in shaping narratives, challenging harmful norms, and giving voice to the most vulnerable individuals, including survivors of gender-based violence. But this role comes with a great responsibility. The way we tell these stories can either promote justice and healing or reinforce stigma and silence.
Through consistent and sensitive reporting, journalists can push SGBV to the forefront of public discourse, advocate for survivors while protecting and upholding their dignity, and influence policy changes by highlighting gaps in legal frameworks and services for survivors. Aisha Tubari, QTV News.
Now on to some sports news stories. The Gambia under 15 girls have been knocked out of the CAF African School Football Championship in Accra, Ghana, after suffering 2 heavy defeats against Uganda and South Africa. Here is Mamudu Gajaga.
After suffering a heavy defeat to Uganda and South Africa, the Gambia under-15 girls team exit the tournament in Accra, Ghana. The Gambian girls conceded 8 goals in 2 matches against Uganda and South Africa in their African Schools Football Championship. After managing a goalless draw in the first half, the Ugandans ran riot over the Gambia to score 3 second-half goals and claim the victory. The under-15 girls faced reigning champions South Africa in their second game, who thrashed the Gambia 5-0 in their heaviest defeat of the competition. With 2 losses, the Gambia missed out on a spot in the semi-finals. The team now awaits CAF's decision on their initially postponed opening fixture against DR Congo, scheduled for Wednesday, to determine whether the match will be played. CAF reported that the game was cancelled due to the delayed arrival of the DR Congo squad. The Gambia's biggest achievement at the African School Football Championship was winning the bronze medal at the inaugural tournament in Durban, South Africa in 2022. In the sub-region at the WAFU A-Zone tournament, they've been crowned champions in the girls category on 3 consecutive occasions. Umudu Gajaga, QTV News.
That's all for now, I'm afraid, in this news bulletin, but do join us tomorrow at 8 p.m. for the Week in Review with Mahmoud Mboj and Jules Denjaya. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.